Chase Lee Hockey with the Blue Futon. In this movie, I actually did as a request from one of my subscribers from Chile. So, hello, guy from Chile. I don't know your name, but we do talk on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, and I listened to your recommendation and I decided to go on Vudu and rent The Mole Agent. Never heard of it, never would have watched it unless this guy said, hey, I want you to watch The Mole Agent. I watched it. Was it worth that $4.99? Let's find out. Mole Agent, what's it about? Well, this is kind of a documentary. I want to say kind of a documentary because I really don't know if it is a 100% documentary or some of the stuff was planned. But anyway, a private investigator needs to hire someone between 80 and 90 years old to infiltrate a nursing home because there's a lady. Her daughter is a little bit concerned that some of the nurses are stealing stuff, are abusing her. So we need a elderly person between 80 and 90 to go in that nursing home and make sure nothing bad is happening to them. But the problem with this is when you have these 80 and 90-year-olds, they don't really know how to FaceTime. They don't really know how to use these technology, these glasses, hidden cameras. So that's kind of the charm of this about this whole James Bond in a nursing home. Can he spy on the people without being seen, known, or blown his cover? So what I like about this movie, actually I liked a lot about this movie. I'm gonna go with the negatives because I have a lot more positives and negatives to say about this movie. Negatives, I don't know what was real and what was not, and I think that was a bummer for me because there's some scenes where like he's talking to the phone and giving reports to the private investigator, and how the camera's set up and everything like that. You're just like, does the nursing home know what is happening? Is this really about the synopsis of this movie? Because I don't want to spoil it for you because there's a huge the ending is very heartwarming of what it was about, and it makes you second guess if it is really about the synopsis or about something else. That's all I'm going to say because that is something about the story, and I just want to know the truth. So I'm putting that as a little bit of a negative, is I want to know the truth of why they wanted to do this movie. Was it for the initial reason, or was it not to do something else? But this is now the positives. Greatly directed, written great. It is edited smoothly. These old people in this home are hysterical. Some of them want to find love with this man. Some of them just want to be free. Get me out of this cage! And then there are also some heartwarming, sad moments in this movie. There's this one scene where I was on the verge of tears, guys, about how he's trying to comfort this lady who has dementia and just has memory loss. And there's this scene where she's literally like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm dizzy. I've never felt this way before. And he's just like, you just gotta cry and let it out. And then she's just like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, you gotta cry. And she starts crying. And I'm just like, this reminded me when I was in Portugal and doing deliveries to people. Taking, Meals on Wheels, if you want to put it, in Portugal. They had this nursing home they just opened in one part of the not in Port Martins, but it was in the other part of the Azore Islands. What I totally forgot what it was. Not Port Martins. It's wow, I can't believe I'm forgetting the main island of this. But it was during Christmas time, and I took a meal to a lady. Her husband was in bed, like basically amputee, like it was ridiculous. And I talked to her, and she was like crying. She's like, no one visits me, none of my kids visit me, I'm all alone, and just you coming here like just made my year. And I'm just like when that happened to me, like I was holding back tears, and just having that in this movie, like they complain about their kids not visiting them in this home and how they're lonely, and that's where I think the story was trying to go in the first place, not the initial synopsis. But man, that scene of the lady like crying and like not knowing where she is, and then him bringing her pictures of the family to her so she could kind of remember who her family was. Man, that was some heartbreaking stuff. And like I said, it brought back memories of Portugal. And then the movie, yeah, it brought back memories because I don't like nursing homes because it scares me. That's my fear. My fear is getting old and just being alone. Even though I'm alone right now, I still talk to people. But I feel like at that age, being alone, you have just so much thoughts and your body shutting down. And it's so scary to me about being that way and how they get left alone. I know it's about cultures because I know in Japan and Korea, they look at that a little bit different about like the elderly. Like look at Fukushima. Like it's kind of weird. You'll get COVID and Fukushima and stuff like that. So in Fukushima was actually the older people going into the reactors because like we've already lived our lives and we got to do this. But with COVID, we say we need to protect the elderly and not worry about the kids. Like very, very different cultural way of thinking with Japan and other countries. I don't know why I said that, but with this Chile thing, just seeing these old people just wanting to go home, wanting their kids to visit them, and no one visits them, and the whole dementia thing. And I was like, I was on the verge of tears. It's like me right now, like I'm watering up just a little bit, but I'm not like, cause it's in the, like my brain, back of my brain, and I fluster with this topic because it does scare me a little bit about how people get forgotten, and that's the scary thing. And I think the scariest quote is like, "You finally die when the last person remembers your name," and just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. And it's like, damn, like it's so scary. It to me, it's scary. And then just going to that nursing home and then visiting these old people in their homes, and then them not getting visitors, and they just see me and they're just like, "Oh, I want to marry you" and stuff like that. And it's cute, but it's also just sad. It I just remember that day, like that weekend or that week for Christmas, I was just like, I was in a bad place of like, but anyway, that's just my personal thing. It doesn't even about the movie. I don't know how you guys feel about nursing homes and everything like that. Have you had that experience of like going to a nursing home and just seeing these old people sit in these chairs look sad and they just try to be happy, but it's hard to be happy when no one's visiting them and they can't remember their life. It hurts to the core. But yeah, The Mole Agent's a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's only an hour and a half. There's no cussing. It's a G-rated movie. It's heartwarming. It really is, and it makes you think about life. It really does, and your loved ones. It really does. So the Mole Agent will receive a 4.5 out of 5 with Futon. He was at 90%. So the Critics' News Scores gave this. So the critics a 94% with 51 of them, and the audience scored 93% with fewer than 15. Here's critic consensus. The Mole Agent offers audiences a poignant reminder that it is never too late to forge new connections and embark on new adventures. I can understand the new connections, but I think the synopsis for this one is wrong. Sorry, not the synopsis, the critic consensus where it needs to say, not connections, because some people already have connections and they're forgetting about the connection. This one, you need to reconnect with connections, not forge new connections. Yes, you could forge new connections like this old man did with like saying he would go back to his nursing homes, but this is not about forging new connections. It's making sure the connections you already have stay connected. So do you agree with my 90%, the 94, the 93? Chase out the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Only one thing is Buton Topi, Buton. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And seriously, watch this movie. It is in subtitles. It's heartwarming. There's some funny scenes. But for me, it did hit hard. It really did. And thank you for the YouTuber from Chile to recommend this one. Great recommendation. Thank you.